lovely Friday night, everybody. Chris McDonald with you, and it is just me tonight. No guests, just the Mac Man. Grateful to see everybody in the house. We're going to get right to this. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're going to play several videos, take your thoughts before the night's out, and give you a chance to chime in on the events of the day and the events of this week, which have been many. And we're going to be looking at some videos of different things tonight, giving you commentary on it, our thoughts, and then taking yours. It's good to see everybody in the house tonight. And I want to just make a couple of announcements before we get going tonight. We'll be wrapping this show up probably in about an hour, hour and a half. This is our new show. It's our regular McFiles Friday night show. We don't do these often, but we do. We were doing it tonight. We've really not had a news wrap-up show in a while. But at midnight tonight, and this will be airing on the Spirit Wordfire Network, which is our faith network that is strictly for faith shows and our Bible teachings and Sunday morning services and Wednesday night services. But we are going to do something tonight for the very first time, and been feeling led to do this really since I got back from Israel, and tonight just presented a perfect opportunity since I'm here in Tennessee tonight, and we're going to do this at midnight, starting around midnight. We're going to have a Watch of the Lord service, and what we're going to be doing is just basically worshiping the Lord with music. We'll take your prayers. We may give you a chance to call in. A few folks may call in and pray over the nation tonight. It's going to be a time of intercession, worship, testimony, but we're going to go into the night and go probably as late as 3 maybe. But I've been part of one of these way back in the day, and it was a unique experience. It really was. I had never done it before, but there was such a powerful presence of God into the night. Now, you West Coast folks, it'll be just 9 o'clock, so we'll probably have a big West Coast audience. But I do encourage you to join us over on the Spirit Wordfire Network. And I don't think that you're going to be disappointed. If you can stay up with us in the East, we'd be glad to have you. But if you can't, just, I guess, watch the replay tomorrow and see what you missed. Because I think we're going to have a great time tonight in the Lord late. We had been wanting to do a Southern Gospel all-night sing, and maybe another Friday night we got free, we'll do that. But tonight I feel really led to do this. And then tomorrow night, around 9 o'clock, we'll do a Southern Gospel Saturday night gospel sing for you Southern Gospel fans, where we just play music and let you soak in the presence of God with that. And then Sunday morning, Sunday night, our faith services will be on. We'll be back at this next Monday, and we got a lot of guests. James Akers can't be with us tonight. He's got family, and I totally understand that. He's on vacation this week, and so I figured this would be a good time for me just to run my mouth a little bit tonight, get myself in a lot of trouble, and let it all hang out for about an hour and a half. And it's good to see everybody in the house, and we hope that you're going to enjoy the show tonight. And I put it like I even brought my Mountain Dew just in case I get choked up on my own laughter. I make myself laugh all the time. But I've got a guarantee for you. If you don't like the show, we will give you your money back. If you don't like the show tonight, how about that? We got a money-back guarantee on the McFiles. You don't like it? We'll give you your money back. And I'll just leave that one alone. Some of you will get that in a minute. Some of you won't. Anyway, a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm going to get right to it. And Miracle of Miracles, not all these start playing at one time. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to talk about Hillary here in a minute. I want to start off tonight with this video. This is Jesse Walters. It's about 10 minutes. Jesse tonight, and I'm going to come on my screen with you tonight and sort of come up here and be in the screen with you along with the video, and then I can talk to you. But Jesse tonight gave a absolute perfect explanation of what happened today with the tariffs and this decision. I'll just make my screen bigger a little bit. 6-3 ruling today. This was with the Supreme Court, and we're going to talk about this. And you can see the breaking news there. Mitch McConnell has blocked the SAVE Act from being brought to the vote on the Senate floor tonight. He is such an absolute demonic weasel. He is absolutely a demonic weasel. It is pathetic. And this was a pathetic ruling today. Basically that the Supreme Court betrayed the country. 3 of these justices, Gorsuch, Comey Barrett, and John Roberts, which I knew John Roberts was going to probably go the way of the liberals. But the situation that happened today, basically they said that President Trump cannot use the Emergency Powers Act to enact these tariffs. They didn't say he couldn't pass tariffs. What they said, though, was that the way he did what he did using the statute was unconstitutional. He didn't have the authority to do that, which Brett Kavanaugh made a perfectly good example that Jesse's about to explain. It's about like washing dishes by hand compared to washing dishes with a machine. It's a lot easier when you've got a dishwasher. You just stick the dirty dishes in there and turn a button on, and in about 20 minutes, voila, the dishes are clean, instead of sitting there with a rag and trying to scrub and, take 30 minutes to an hour to get all that done if you got a big sink of dishes. And that's basically all that happened tonight. The Supreme Court just made him, do this in a different manner, and not going to stop him. In fact, he hit right back tonight, and we're going to look at some of the ways he did that, because he had a lot to say about this tonight. I normally am not a big fan of name calling, even though I do it sometimes and I shouldn't do it. But, we are human on the show. But the names that Trump called the Supreme Court tonight, I am almost agreeing. I'm agreeing with him. I am. This was a weasel move. Mitch McConnell is a weasel move, not allowing the SAVE Act. What is the SAVE Act, you ask? I'll tell you what it is. It's basically an act that's going to say you got to show an ID when you go vote. And because you've got Mitch McConnell's, and you've got Rand Paul's, and you've got Lisa Murkowski, of all people, Susan Collins voted for the SAVE Act to come to the floor. So when you got people like this in our country, folks, and you got Supreme Court justices like the 3 we had on the court tonight, and Jesse makes the comment, he said, and you won't hear this part of the video because they cut that out, but this is why we hate lawyers. This is why we hate government officials. This is why we have no trust in our government institutions. This is why we can't stand politicians. It's why we can't stand people that have been entrusted with the protection and the upholding of the Constitution of this country, and all they do is stick their foot right up the butts of every American citizen. This was a no-brainer tonight. This was not rocket science. All this lawsuit that was brought was trying to claim that Trump didn't have the authority to pass tariffs at all, and the Supreme Court should have seen through that and said, and they basically, some of the phrasing of the minority decision basically said the very thing. They said, we're not saying he don't have a right to pass the tariff, but we do not believe he had the right to pass it. Well, so what? If he's got the right with 100 other laws to do it, so why make a big deal and stall this out for 6 hours? Because 6 hours later, he basically slapped 20% tariffs on the whole world and basically thumbed his nose at the Supreme Court, as he should have. As he should have. These tariffs were bringing countries to the table, to the trade table, and it was a tool, it was a national security issue. And that was what he was arguing. He's saying, I'm doing this under the Emergency Powers Act because all this influx of illegal immigration, if I can tariff these countries and put these tariffs on these nations that are allowing this to happen, I can force them to stop the immigration issue. Supreme Court said, no, you can't. So this is a national security issue. I know some folks don't agree with that. A lot of Dems are dancing in the street tonight. Canada's dancing. But Trump's basically going to say later that the dance is not going to last for long. And the mockery and the rejoicing ain't going to last for long, because he's going to basically unleash tariff hell on the world. And he should. Do you realize, folks, and I said this in our Facebook short today, we had the smallest trade deficit this past January 26th. It's taken it about a year. Trump came into office in January of 2025. It's taken it about a year, and he told the country then to be patient. People were freaking out. Oh, the tariffs going to crash the economy. Tariffs are going to tick everybody off. We're going to pay $50 for a thing of eggs. I mean, just all this fear and all this fear-mongering and all this garbage that you hear coming from media types out there, and many church folks too. Christians were saying the same thing. And he told the country, be patient. This is going to take a little time, but the long-term gain is going to be worth a little short-term pain. And he was right. Because our trade deficit, what is a trade deficit? That means when we send products to other nations, they're charging us more than what we charge them for bringing their products into our nation. Folks, these countries were getting a free ride under these Democrat and Republican presidents of the past because we let China run all over us. We let North Korea run all over us. We let the European Union run all over us. Canada, I love you, but we were letting Canada run all over us. Mexico, run all over us. We got a new sheriff in town. He said, I'm going to stop this. He said, I'm not going to allow it to happen. He says it tonight. So I'm all for what he's doing. And most of us should be too. Now, I'm going to let Jesse explain it a little bit better because he can articulate these things a lot better than McDonald can. But I thought he does a great job of this. So I'm going to play this video from him and let him explain what happened today because it's a joke. It's just a plain joke. Roll the tape.
They can't agree on anything. There are 5 laws that say the president can use tariffs. So the president picks one, uses tariffs, gets sued, and the Supreme Court can't agree if he picked the right law. 3 said he did, 6 said he didn't. They all agree the president has the power to use a tariff, but 6 of them say he's got to pick a different law. So the president's just going to pick a different law and put the tariffs back on. That's what happened today. The 3 justices who backed Trump were Kavanaugh, Alito, and Thomas. Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, Roberts all sided with the Democrats.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
Amen. Keep going.
In fact, they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats.
They are.
The court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think.
I guess Trump's not a dictator anymore because the court ruled against him and he's going to do what they say. Carney in Canada, he doesn't have this issue. Ursula at the EU can hit us
absolutely
with tariffs and nothing stops her. Mexico can hit back fast. China can. They dump in tariff all day long. But the United States has to just sit there and take it? The president can't hit back fast? He has to guess which law to use, and if he retaliates too hard against Vietnam or Switzerland, these countries can hold firm because the court might strike them down.
Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long.
You can count on that. One thing we've learned about President Trump, when he says things like this, he means it. And if I was these countries tonight thinking they've got a reprieve, they're going to have a reprieve, all right. They're going to have a reprieve for as long as this show lasts tonight, which is not going to be long.
That I can assure you.
The president enacted big, fast, sweeping tariffs to knock everybody off their chairs and send them scurrying to Washington to negotiate. Other countries were desperate to do a deal because the tariffs hurt and Trump had a free hand. You think if Trump had waited 2 years and then hit the Japanese with just a tiny 10% little tariff, they would have buckled and sent us $600 billion? The president controls foreign policy. Foreign trade is
Thank you,
foreign
Jesse.
policy. And Trump
Thank
used
you.
tariffs to get NATO's spending boosted, to kick China out of the Panama Canal, and to pull Greenland away from little Denmark, and to make peace deals. Hey, you two stop fighting or I'll slap 50% tariffs on you both. The Supreme Court says...
And I want to just stop it right there. It's an unorthodox way that tariffs have actually ever been used, but it worked. It worked. The president got 8 peace deals signed last year. in less than 12 months, folks. Think about it. 8 conflicts in the world that had been raging for decades all over this world that some of us didn't even know about until they had treaty signings in the White House. Well, the reason he got these countries to sit down and stop killing each other were these tariffs. It's a great point that Jesse just made. Yes, it's unorthodox, but it worked. And it works. Keep going, Jay.
You did that the wrong way? You got to do it this way instead? Richard Nixon used the exact same authority to slap a 10% tariff on almost every import. The Supreme Court upheld it. Trump used the same authority, and they knocked it down. How mad's the president? He's pretty mad.
The Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Barely. We are happily invited. No, they're barely invited.
Kavanaugh cut through all the gobbledygook and said, what's the point of ruling against him if he could just easily do it another way? Quote, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That is because numerous other federal statutes authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs at issue in this case. Then Kavanaugh made a list of all the other laws the president can use to do the exact same thing. It's like having dirty dishes, but you have to do it by hand.
I just said that.
You're not allowed to use the dishwasher. Why are we making it so difficult? Let's just get the dishes done and go to bed. Trump has a whole toolbox of things he can use, and he's just going to go down the list, and he's already checking it off. Tariffs are being put back. What a waste of time. And the president campaigned and won on this. Japan spent $60 million to build a factory in Georgia. Trump was just there yesterday, and everybody wanted to give him a kiss.
Yeah, and by the way, for you Georgians, I'm a Georgian, you cannot be a Georgian and not know about the Varsity restaurant, which has got the best hot dogs in the universe, for those of us that like hot dogs. Trump, in Rome yesterday, stopped by a Varsity that I frequent often when I'm traveling, and the manager that I've talked to is a great guy. I saw him in the picture last night in the video, and I like to drop my phone. I was like, oh, man, I've been there. What a wonderful thing. That's how down to earth he was. He got behind the counter and was serving Varsity hot dogs to the customers and talking to the people, and most of it was African Americans that worked there. And I'm not saying that in a disparaging way, but that's just the way the restaurant's set up. And they were smiling, proud to see him there. He was gracious. They were gracious to him. And again, in Rome, you got the Japanese building multiple billion-dollar facilities. Why? Because they got a president they respect, and these tariffs are working. Keep going, Jay.
And I mean everyone.
I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man. But a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. He said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly.
All that foreign junk that they have been pushing into this country, folks, that's another thing the terrorists have done. It's forced us here in America to buy American goods. What's wrong with that? Well, ask the Supreme Court, because they seem not to know that. They don't have the answer to that question tonight, because 6 of them said Trump's not doing it right.
And I said, no, thank you.
Here's the silver lining. The president goes back, does it again. This time, it's even more targeted and strategic. He's already locked in the trade deals. Now he can carve out exemptions for, let's say, coffee importers, for example, because we don't grow coffee here in America. In a way, it's a win. We got the deals. The costs have been eaten. Inflation went down. And now we can go back and redo it, and we can decide what each business needs. The crazy thing about all this is that the court let our country get invaded. Apparently, it's not illegal to catch and release 20 million foreigners into the country. Just don't charge the foreigners a fee to come in. That would be illegal.
I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge
Come on, Trump.
any money.
Come on.
Democrats who actually begged Clinton, Bush, Obama to start a trade war with China now say only dictators start trade wars.
Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why
Call
wouldn't
him a low IQ.
But why wouldn't
He doesn't even know. And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
And he don't know what a tariff is. And the Dems don't know what a tariff is. And a lot of Republicans don't know what a tariff is. There's a lot of us in America, folks, a common man on that street out there. They are brainwashed by the media. They hear tariff and, oh, it's evil, bad, dictators do it and all this. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. The Dems like to push that stuff. Bet you heard Jesse right there. A lot of these Dems were pushing Bush and Clinton and Obama to basically stand up to China, which they never did. It's jealousy because Trump stood up to them. And again, folks, our trade deficit that was at record levels, it was on a negative. We were on a trajectory of being in such a trade deficit. It was going to basically bankrupt us if we didn't put a stop to this mess. Trump did. And again, I'll repeat what I said a while ago. He warned us a year ago, this is not going to happen overnight. He said it'd take us about a year. And I'm going to read a story here in a minute, and we're seeing signs a year later that what he did worked. So the Supreme Court's got to enter into this fray and say, well, no, I don't care whether it's working or not. You can't do it.
So if globalism crushed the working man, if NAFTA crushed them, if cheap Chinese labor destroyed small-town America, how's Trump supposed to save the working man if he can't renegotiate trade deals and use the same tools other countries use? Huh? Trump's at least trying to get others to pay. Democrats want you to pay. Mayor Mondami said he was going to make New York City more affordable. So he gets elected. Now he says he's going to raise your taxes and raid the Treasury. How's that for a bait and switch?
In order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
New York City. This is why elections matter. This is why elections matter. We warned you. We warned you. We warned you. The commie's going to do exactly what he's doing. Well, we didn't have no choice. We didn't have the choice but to vote for Cuomo or vote for Silva. Well, you know something? You had a choice. It may not have been the best choice, but it sure was better than the commie. Because guess what? You're about to go bankrupt. And he is about to tax you to smithereens. He's about to put tariffs on you.
New Yorkers, not happy about it.
Mayor Zoran Mondani, you are out your goddamn mind.
To the mayor, with the greatest respect, in every campaign speech, in every debate where you engage, we opened our ears to listen.
And they voted for him. I got no sympathy for this crowd. I got no sympathy for this crowd. I've got no sympathy for this crowd. Cry me some crocodile tears. Mayor, with much due respect. But let me tell you something, brother. You went in that poll and voted for him. This is what you get. Roll the tape.
Now today, accept the words echoing from us now. Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
Oh! A little too late for that, bro. I love you, man. You voted for it. You voted for it. You voted for it. He fooled every one of you. You had Jews standing behind a Jew hater, a communist Nazi that is jihadism. He's pushing jihadism, holding his arms up. Mondami is what we need in this city. And when he starts jihad and Sharia law against you in the Jewish community, I'm going to tell you the same thing. And I love you dearly tonight. You voted for it. This is why elections matter, folks. This is why Christians need to get to those polls and vote.
Because of the Trump tax cuts, you're getting a big, beautiful tax refund this April. And Democrats don't even know it yet, but they just walked into a pretty big trap. Newsom's saying Americans should get a tariff refund.
Donald Trump should return that money immediately. He has an obligation, $1,751 per family, that were taxed by Donald Trump. He took hundreds of billions of dollars from...
By the way, I think Jesse shows the poll in this segment, maybe not. Newsom ain't even polling 10% right now in New Hampshire for next year because, you know, the election season starts here in another 8 months. Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, that Mayor Pete. Yeah, that one. I could say something nasty about that, but I'll just leave it alone tonight. But Buttigieg, 20%. AOC is right behind him at 15%. Newsom and Kamala is barely pushing 10%. This is the president wannabe and running his trap and sounding stupid. But Californians, this is your governor.
Working folks, from the ag community, from small businesses, for this vanity play, this illegal action. And he finally was held to account. The rule of law won out.
Tariff stimmy checks with Trump's name on it right before the midterms. I'm into it. Anyway, most of the tariffs were eaten by foreigners, importers. Some prices went up, yeah, but inflation's gone down since Liberation Day.
Yes,
well,
it has.
As long as we're playing along. I love the idea of a refund. Are we getting refund checks for the $9 billion the Somalis stole?
Come on, Jesse.
Because when there's fraud on my credit card, American Express pays me back. Are we getting refund checks for Bidenomics? The average family paid thousands of dollars.
Come on, Jesse.
Should I check the mailbox? We spent hundreds of billions on migrants, their hotels, health care, phones. I want a refund. Are California taxpayers going to get the $24 billion back that Gavin spent on the homeless? Do California taxpayers get the $16 billion back from the train to nowhere that Gavin never built? That rail CEO, he just got arrested for battery.
There's investigation pending, and what's not pending is progress. And we'll continue to make progress laying the rail.
Newsom thinks he's leading the charge on refunds, all right? He's not even leading Mayor Pete. A new poll.
There it is. He does show it.
Buttigieg beating AOC, Newsom, and Harris.
15%. I was wrong. And that was it. He went ahead to show the fact that the poll, 15-10, Harris has got 10, Newsom 15, Buttigieg at 20. Now is a long way away. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. But I don't think that Mr. Newsom is getting off to that grand start that he thought, and he's as popular in the real world out here like he is in La La Land, California. By the way, this is Colby Smith. This is an article. We can't read it all, but I just want to read the first paragraph. Because the cry of the left last year, inflation was so bad under Joe Biden. And when Trump came in, he saw a way, he felt like the way to bring inflation down was these tariffs. And again, the warmongering drum and the fear-mongering and the sky's falling, the chicken littles on the left and the right. Many conservative commentators were the same way. A lot of economists were, no, it's not going to work. Tariffs never work. Tariffs never are good for people. We're going to wind up paying more for our goods. Well, guess what happened in January, just last month? U.S. inflation eased by more than expected at the start of 2026, providing a reprieve to the Federal Reserve as it contends with yet another year of consumer prices rising far faster than the central bank's target. And it's basically saying that if you read that article by Colby Smith, I think it's on our X account, but that article, neighbor, is basically saying that inflation is easing. It may not be easing as quick as people want it to, but it's coming down. And folks, at the gas pump, I know gas prices are not like $1.50, $1.60 when they were like Trump's first term, but it's better than $6 a gallon. It's about $2.50, $2.40, $2.30. There's some areas in Alabama and Georgia, down where my sweetheart lives, It's $2.20, $2.30 a gallon. It was that way before the holidays. We got travel plans coming. The spring is about to hit with spring break, and that's why it's sort of bumped up this week, because some schools are going on spring break in the next few weeks, and people are traveling. But we've seen gas prices drop like a rock, and grocery prices have come down, even though they're a little high still. But Trump told us again, folks, he did not make any grandiose promises about these tariffs. He said, give it time, and we should listen. But that's our problem in the American public. We don't listen. We make our own call, and we don't listen. I think I'll amen myself on that one tonight. First time I may do that tonight. But inflation has eased at the start of the year. By the way, this is Trump. I want to play the View thing, but I think this is a repeat of what he said earlier tonight. Go ahead and play this clip. About 2 minutes. Listen to it. About a minute. Roll tape.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there is no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic.
Yep.
They're so happy.
And I'll just stop that. You heard it a while ago, but it's worth hearing again. The countries that are ripping us off have been just so happy. And that's going to end, folks. And I pray Trump continues the course. I do. I hope he continues the course. And, I believe that he will. And I believe that he will. This is, let's see here. We've already played that one. I want to talk about a few other things tonight. This is Hillary Clinton. I'm going to play Hillary before I do the View. And I want to set this up tonight. I don't want to talk a lot about Epstein tonight, but there's been a lot of panic, and we're going to play a video Monday night. We got Ricky early, and then we got another news show late Monday night. James will be back with us, and we'll do another video run of things. And I didn't have time to download this one, but there is a lot of people tonight that are getting caught up as what I would call the Epstein radiation. Larry Summers, former Obama economic advisor, gone at Harvard because of the Epstein thing. A former national security advisor of Obama's gone because of her Epstein ties. 2,000 emails, not 700, 2,000 emails. And one of those emails, she claims that he was an honest Jeff, honest Jeff. We have heard nothing from the last year, 6 months to a year, that the reason that Trump has been slow walking the Epstein files is because his name is all over it. And there are paragraphs that had his name in it. Well, it's amazing that ever since Pam Bondi released these files in the last few weeks, that there's all sorts of names popping up. And Prince Andrew got arrested last night before, because of this. And it was really more about, it wasn't so much about the Epstein claims as much as it was the document thing. He was given Jeffrey Epstein state secrets of the British government. And I listened to a man tonight, and I'm going to try to reach out to him. We'd love to get him on our show. He's wrote a book called The Spider's Lair. It has to do with Epstein's ties to international bankers, international figures, and a lot of government officials. There's no telling how much money he was bribing these people with. Well, let's fast forward this. Trump has been called a pedophile. You had Ted Lieu on the Senate floor Wednesday night literally say that they have rock solid proof through these Epstein files that Trump raped children, trafficked women, and is nothing but a pedophile criminal. Literally said that. He can't get sued for that, because anything you say on that House floor, you're protected. He wouldn't dare say that on The View. I dare him to come say that on another talk show and see if Trump don't sue him, because that's a suable offense. For those that don't understand what that is, we call that slander. And we call that defamation of character. Only politicians can get away with that. I couldn't say that about somebody on this network and not be able to prove it without getting sued. And there's a lot of things that are out there in that la-la land of the internet that's defamation and slander, and people get sued for it, as they should. As they should. Enter Hillary Clinton today. She was doing an interview with the BBC, and she got very uncomfortable with the question about Epstein. And I'm going to let this sort of play for itself. She claims that her and Bill had 0 meetings with Epstein. We can't make it. Where's Miller at tonight? He's out there somewhere. As Jason likes to always say, we can't make this up. We can't make this up, Jay. Roll tape.
Do you regret the links that there have been? You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions. And
let me stop that while I choke on the that you just heard. You got to let me play that back. She said it. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. I've never met him. And my husband's only met him a few times. She literally said it. Let me back that up. This is her own words, not mine. This is hers.
Rides on the airplane for his charitable work.
Let me back this up.
We have no links. We
have no links. Ghislaine Maxwell started the Clinton Foundation for him, folks. Ghislaine started the Clinton Foundation for him.
Have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about.
Oh, wow. They have been willing to talk about. No, the only thing they've been willing to say is that Trump's a pedophile. And Trump stole the 2016 election. And Trump is a criminal. And Trump's a felon. That's all she's done for 10 years now. Trashed the country, trashed Trump, any conservative. She's called us deplorable. Lied about everything. Projected everything this woman says, folks, she's projected on other people. She's done and doing. Demonic. It's demonic. Roll tape.
Which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sitting in a hot tub with a 15-year-old Hill is not charitable work.
I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet
him? Oh, for God's sake.
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. And we are more than happy to...
That's not what she's been saying for nearly 5 years. She's never said that should be the focus. Her and her ilk, including The View, including MSNBC. George Stephanopoulos is on that list tonight, by the way. His name has come up again. Steve Bannon's name has come up again. Bill Gates. And by the way, I'm just a South Georgia boy, as I like to say. I'm just a common sense kind of guy. I think that's Jeffrey Epstein in the beginning of that picture. And if I'm not mistaken, that don't look like some kind of meeting. It looks like Bill's real happy to be there. And Hill's sticking her head out there to get in that photo with Bill Gates. But she's saying, we just met him a few times. We don't have any relationship with him. He's holding the camera up, taking a selfie. And any of you that take a selfie, neighbor, you don't take selfies with people that you've just met. Not in this case, you don't. This is Hillary Clinton and this is who she is. But the hypocrisy of it, I want to choke on. because she's not been concerned about these victims. None of them have. We talked about this with Leslie last night. By the way, for those of you that don't know Leslie Millwig, there's some of you that do. We had Leslie on. We have Leslie on our show pretty regularly now. She was one of Bill Clinton's victims that you've never heard about. He almost did the same thing to her that he did to Juanita Broderick almost 40 years ago. And Leslie has been a dear, dear, dear friend to me and the show. When we first had her on in 2018, she told her story in 2018. And the whole family, she's very aware of this whole mess. We talked about this last night. And there is no more... Look, I pray for their souls. I do. But when I hear stuff like this, I literally want to vomit and regurgitate because it's nothing but lies. Please understand, this is nothing but lies that are coming out of her mouth. They didn't care about the victims. They've never cared about the victims. The reason it's now all of a sudden about the victims, the heat's on. And the heat is about to get hotter. And it's what Mr. Cohen said tonight, the author of the book about the spider's lair. He said, this is not going away. Jesse asked him, he said, is this going away where we're at right now? He said, this is not going away. He said, it may seem like people are not being affected by this, but all these resignations, a lot of these early retirements that we're not hearing about, he said it's tied to this list and that island and that airplane. But I want you to listen carefully to this, and then I'm going to move on to something else.
Say what we know, which is very limited and totally unrelated.
I'm sorry. Totally unrelated, and what we know is very limited? I'm sorry. Where's Miller at? Where's Miller at tonight? We can't make this stuff up.
Their behavior or their crimes, and we want to do it in public because let's make this transparent.
There are calls for another individual who denies wrongdoing to go before Congress on this matter. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew. Do you think he should testify?
I think everybody should testify.
Look, including the former prince.
I think everybody should testify. Who is that?
Let me tell you the hypocrisy of that. Comer's tried to get them to testify before the House Judiciary Committee about the Jeffrey Epstein list. He subpoenaed Bill. Bill's refusing to come. He's basically stuck his middle finger up to Congress. Hillary has stuck her middle finger up. She gets over to the BBC. See, she couldn't get away with this in America. This is what I cannot stand about these politicians and these athletes that go overseas and trash our country. They could never get away saying this crap on American soil. They go overseas with these foreign press people who hate us anyway. They hate us as bad as our own press hates us. And they throw these softball questions. No, she didn't get challenged with that. It wouldn't have done for me to be doing this interview. Because I'd have looked at her and said, well, okay, if everybody needs to testify, where are you and Bill at when they were subpoenaing you and you were fighting the subpoena to go before the Congress?
Has to testify. I just want it to be fair.
I'm sorry, folks. This is Friday night comic hour. I'm sorry. She really believes this stuff. I mean, and this is a joke. This is more funny than McDonald when he gets wired up on a Friday night.
I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me because witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that.
They did not offer that. That is a plain lie. James Comer has basically said that very thing. They did not want to go before Congress, and she says they wanted to offer statements under oath. That is absolutely false. Comer is out there saying tonight that is absolutely false. He said they've not been wanting to do anything under oath. Folks, by the way, just a reminder, when Hillary got her little hand caught in the cookie jar back in 2016 about the emails, do you realize that she never, the FBI, when they were investigating that email situation in that server, they never put her under oath? That's why they couldn't charge her. She never went under oath with the FBI. Them questioning her, the FBI can come and questioning you, but they've got to tell you you're under oath. And what you say, because you got to read your Mirandas if they're questioning you about criminal activity. They just had a chit-chat with her. They never put her under oath. And see, Comer was smart. He said, you're not going to get away with that this time. You're going to come to Congress. We're going to put you under oath, and you're going to tell us what you know about this. They wouldn't do it. So that's just complete bollocks.
They want to pull us. Why did they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump.
See, there it is. There it is right there. To divert attention from President Trump. Don't you just love this? Don't you just love that? I don't see Trump in that picture, do y'all? And looks like there's goats. Is that goats in the background? And Elaine, your point is right. It wasn't Trump that was in the blue dress. And if they're not just but arm-length buddies, I don't know any arm-length buddies that take pictures in blue dresses.
This is not complicated.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And that's, and the White House statement, I'm going to read that White House statement back again. By releasing thousands, I'm going to stop that. Hang on just a second. I'm going to let you read that with me.
President Trump, this is not complicated.
By releasing thousands of pages of documents cooperating with the House Oversight Committee subpoena request, President Trump recently calling for further investigations into his Democrat friends. The administration has done more for the victim than Democrats ever have. Andrew Weinder has consistently and stringently denied any wrongdoing, but he's under arrest tonight. Now, a couple more things about this, and then I've got a couple of things about anti-Semitism, and then I'm going to give you your time tonight, because I really want to talk about these tariffs tonight on this Friday night, because that affects us all in the wallet. Those tariffs are important because they affect us. But this is so hilarious, what's happening. The View chimed in yesterday because guess what? Every one of those ladies, Whoopi, Joy, Holston, I'm not sure who the other lady is, but 3 of those 4, their names are on his list. They attended parties given by Jeffrey Epstein. Joy Behar is choking, and all of a sudden it ain't about Trump anymore, Trump being on the list, and Holston's not calling Trump a pedophile no more because their own names are on there. It's almost like Matthew 7:1 to me. It's just like absolutely, it is absolute spiritual karma. Roll the tape.
We're on the list because we were at a party or a wedding or something that somebody might have been. That's what I found out anyway.
Yeah, no,
I was at Trump's wedding to Marla.
Right.
Maybe Epstein was there too.
See, they're still trying to divert their own ties to Epstein with Trump. Well, if I was at Trump's wedding to Marla, maybe my name was on that list.
I don't know. So that means that I'm not guilty, obviously, but...
I'm not guilty, obviously. Well, she sure makes Trump guilty. The whole left makes Trump guilty of everything, don't they? That's all we've heard for a year and a half. Let me tell you something, folks. If they would have had any scintilla of evidence of wrongdoing by Trump during the Merrick Garland years, Trump would have been in jail. They didn't even bring the Epstein files up in the 4 years that Joe Biden was president. But now all of a sudden he's in power and it's Epstein. And the left is panicking because it's falling on them. The fire, it's the noose. We're about to enter into Purim here next week, by the way, which is the story of a man named Haman who prepared a noose for the Jewish people, and he got hung on that same noose. And this is what I see happening right here to this left and these Democrats and people like Joy Behar. And our dear friend Juanita Broderick, we found out last night, Leslie told me this yesterday, that her name got put on there out of malicious intent. They put her name on there just to make her look bad. And I'm not going to disagree totally with Joy that says that just because your name's on a list, it doesn't mean you didn't do anything wrong. But they do not give Trump that same benefit of the doubt in any shape whatsoever when there's no evidence that he had anything to do with this killer and this pedophile. And again, I don't see his picture in there.
These other ones, how are you going to decide who's really guilty and who's not?
Well, I think it's very clear because if you look, you know why my name is there because
No, we don't.
Someone was looking for a plane, and that's what people do. They go to all the people who have private planes and say,
that's such bollocks.
do you have one?
And you didn't get on the plane.
I didn't get on the plane. I didn't know they were looking for a plane.
Yeah, I bet you didn't.
The plane that I was
I bet you didn't.
supposed to be on was no longer available. So,
all right. I can't even stomach it no more. They basically just go back and forth about that. The reason I played that clip is this. You can't have it both ways, Dems. You can't have it both ways. If you impugn Trump's character because his name came up in that list and it was redacted a few times, and every evidence out there that he basically called the police on Epstein in 2015, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago the second he found out about Epstein, had nothing to do with him personally. He probably dealt with him business-wise back in the mid-2015-10 time because Trump's a businessman. But he never went to that island. Can't prove that. No proof of that. But just because Trump's name is associated on that list, you all have called him every name in the book. And basically, again, what Ted Lieu did on the House floor is what most people on the left have done for the last year. And they said Trump's a pedophile, which is a suable offense. It's a suable offense. And I pray President Trump, I hope he takes every last one of these losers and, what's to court and bankrupts these people for what they've done. You do not have the right to destroy people's character out of personal vendetta. There's a lot of people that need to hear that crap tonight. I'm going to tell you this tonight. I hope Trump bankrupts them all. I hope Trump bankrupts them all. Because they're nothing but a bunch of demonic hypocrites. And I don't see his face in that picture. I see Bill and Hillary's. I see Bill and Hillary's. And Delane, you're right. Even some of the victims have said that President Trump wasn't a part of this mess with the island. He was never on the island. And that is goats, by the way, in the picture. That is goats in the picture. And so forth. All right. I'm going to leave that picture up just as a reminder. This was in our state of Tennessee today. Very troubling. This is in Johnson City, which is just maybe an hour and a half northeast of me. These are fourth graders today that was supposed to be taking a midterm final exam test. But instead, Tim Burchett, our representative, posted this. They were out doing this. Those are fourth graders. Fourth graders. Fourth graders. Roll that again. Wow. Okay. We'll see about that. But anyway, every last one of those kids should be suspended. Every last one of those kids should get a failing grade on their test. They won't, because that northeast area of Tennessee is a blue state. I'm right in the middle. I'm Knoxville. The city is blue, but this region of Tennessee that we live in, is conservative. And the mountains are very conservative where I'm at here. But you go west and you go northeast, it turns blue quickly. And Virginia is blue all of a sudden. I want to change gears a little bit. This was Tucker Carlson basically being interviewed today by Mike Huckabee. Or actually, Tucker was interviewing Mike Huckabee. And I want you to listen very carefully to this because, as I said, we got Purim coming up here in a week. And I've been saving a show that I've been wanting to do about anti-Semitism, just dedicating it all clips, all news about all the anti-Semitism that's been raging over this country for the last 3 or 4 years, really in the last 24 months. But I want you to listen carefully. This is what you call anti-Semitic rhetoric that's coming from Qatari Carson. And Mike Huckabee has got to be a saint to sit there and let him get away with this. He didn't really let him get away with it, but I would not have been as kind and generous as Mike Huckabee was. Roll the tape, but I want you to listen carefully what he suggests the Jews do to prove they've got a right to their land. Watch this.
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are?
He's basically saying that for the Jews to say that they have a right to that land, that they are to go through a DNA test. A DNA test. That's how sick and demonic he has become. He has lost all sense of common sense. It's not even common sense anymore. This has gone way beyond just some good old-fashioned Jew-hating talk. That's insane. I want you to listen to that again. He's talking to Mike Huckabee, our ambassador to Israel.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Would you be against doing that?
I have no idea what that would prove. I mean, maybe it would be.
What do you mean? It would prove who Abram's descendants are and who has a right to live here and who doesn't, according to the theology that you yourself just explained. And so I'm very confused as to why we don't do that. If you believe the theology that you've just explained to me,
would we do that all over the world?
Well,
my question to Tucker is, do we need to do the DNA testing on the Arabs to prove that they have a right to the land? I would like to see him go to Jordan or go to Saudi Arabia, even definitely Iran. I would love for him to go into Iran tonight and tell the Ayatollahs that we need to give you a DNA test to make sure that you've got the right to rule Iran. Or go to his Qatari buddies and say, we need to do a DNA testing on you to see if you control this part of the world. It's how nutcase jobs these people have become. It's what anti-Semitism will do to you, folks. Causes you to think like this. Causes you to say stuff like this. It's Jew hatred. Hatred. If you don't, and you know something? There are people that are so blind to this, you can't tell them that. They don't think it is.
This is the only country in the world that you've said has this covenant with God, that this people have a moral and legal right to the land.
What about people who convert to Judaism? Would they have a right?
Well, you've just said.
I mean, there are converts to Judaism, so
you just told
they can make Aliyah. They may not have.
You've just
DNA.
told me that it doesn't matter. You told me moments ago, trying to keep track, that it doesn't matter whether or not you believe in God or whether or not you practice Torah Judaism or Rabbinic Judaism, which is something else that I don't even know if we should, I don't even know what that means. But it doesn't matter whether you're, quote, a religious Jew or not.
See, this is semantics. Tucker's basically saying, Carrie Prejean said this, that she don't think the Jews had a right to the land. You've got several of them out there claiming that they don't believe Israel has a right to exist. Literally. Jay, your question is absolutely on point. If they're going to do this, let's go down to Gaza tonight. Why don't we go to the West Bank and do a DNA test on the Palestinians and see who's got a right to that land? It's only about Israel, isn't it? It's only about... Folks, let me define this for you in Crown. I should have brought my hat tonight. Do I need to explain this in Crown? This is anti-Semitic rhetoric. Now, you may not believe that. Tucker's got a right to his opinion. I've got a right to mine, too, to call that anti-Semitic. Now, whether you believe me or you listen to him and say, well, I don't think that's that bad. I had a guy that I was shocked. I was telling him how Stu Peters was saying the hateful things about the Jews. He said, well, I don't think Stu's that anti-Semitic. You'd have to be a buffoon in Siberia to listen to what Stu Peters says about the Jews and not believe that's anti-Semitic. But this is where we're at. We're in 1930s Germany, folks. And look, Purim, we're going to explain what Purim is, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We're going to have a special Sunday morning time message about anti-Semitism in the church, because next weekend's Purim. And the Jews were almost killed in Persia because of a madman that had this same idea that Tucker Carlson has.
What matters is that you are part of the Jewish people to whom God gave this land that extends from the Nile to the Euphrates. And so if you believe that, wouldn't you want to know with...
If you believe that. Tucker, I do believe that. I'm not Jewish, but I believe that the Jews have a right to it. And they don't need a DNA test for me to figure that out.
A burning passion who those people are. And
that's such ridiculous stuff.
Because of science, we can now know who those people are. So why aren't we finding out?
I guess you could propose a DNA test for everybody who comes here, everybody who lives here. But
I'm comfortable with secular nation states where it's none of this is done on the basis of blood. I'm uncomfortable with that.
Yep, that's enough. But you get the idea. You get the idea. I got to read you this. This is Carrie Prejean, and I wanted to play one video of hers. I'm going to just play about 3 or 4 seconds of this. I want you to listen to what she said at this council. This is what got her fired. Roll tape.
Thank you. Mr. Frankel, this is for you. You described very painful experiences at UCLA, and I take that very serious. At the same time, many of the students who I've spoken to personally who created those encampments say that they were protesting the killing of tens of thousands of Palestinians.
Killings of tens of thousands of Palestinians. So she's basically saying that if you protested the Gaza war, that it's okay because Israel killed tens of thousands of Palestinians. She never mentions October the 7th in these statements. Never mentions it.
Civilians in Gaza and their universities' financial ties to that war. So I need to ask you, in a country built on religious liberty and the First Amendment, do you believe someone can stand firmly against anti-Semitism, including what you experienced, and at the same time condemn the mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza, or reject political Zionism, or not support the political state of Israel? Or do you believe that speaking out about what many Americans view as genocide in Gaza should be treated as anti-Semitic?
I do. I do. Ms. Prejean, I do believe that. And I'll ask you out there tonight, do you believe that? You can say yes or no, because I've got, my time is up. I got an hour and 5 minutes, and I'm going to give you another 20 minutes. It's, what time is it? It's 10:40, and I'm going to get you out of here in about 20 minutes. But I want to just say this tonight very bluntly, folks. I do believe it is anti-Semitism. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Israel was not the perpetrator of the Gazan war. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Do I need to get a poster? Do I need to get a flag? Do I need to get a shirt? That Israel did not start the Gaza war of October the 7th. Israel was not attacked by Mickey Mouse on October the 7th. And let me tell you this. When Hamas launched that attack and did what they did, at that minute, at that second, everything that happened to Gaza after that was self-defense. I don't care how many Gazans were killed in the sense of who's to blame for it. I tell you who's to blame for it. It wasn't Israel. It was Hamas. It was Hamas. It was Hamas. Did you notice that she never talked about October the 7th in this? That's just a minute in, and this gets worse, and she got fired for this, as she should have. And now she's playing the victim card. I got to read you this here, and I'll pick this up Monday night because I've got more to say about this, a lot more to say about this. She wrote this yesterday. She says, for the record, I'm not suicidal. I love my husband. My family and friends support me. I love my children. I don't have depression. I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs or any medication. I didn't get the COVID shot. I eat healthy. I'm in good health. I just had my car serviced. I am a practicing devout Catholic, being spiritually advised by several priests. If anything happens to me, go Max. Christ is King. That is a direct statement against the Jews, and that's Christ is King, but the way that that's being promulgated is anti-Semitic. And I want to show you this, folks. She posted this just 16 hours ago. I want you to look at this closely. By the way, I didn't play that video tonight, but Benjamin Netanyahu said, I demand the Western governments do what is necessary to fight anti-Semitism. Nothing wrong with that. Illuminati Bot is a very anti-Semitic website. They posted this as a slur against Netanyahu and provide security and safety for Jews worldwide. What's wrong with that? The nations of the earth need to do that. America needs to do that. He said they would be well advised to heed our warnings. I'm not even sure if that wasn't an AI video and them putting this stuff in. We never know anymore. We never know anymore. But you know what she posted with Bibi Netanyahu's picture and video? Do you see that? Get behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Satan. So let me tell you this. All of this blather right here at this council was nothing but a show. And she showed her colors. She got fired. Now she's the victim. That's what happens to a lot of people that run their mouth and do stuff. They get their feathers whacked, and then all of a sudden they run like Chicken Little, and I'm the victim, and I'm the victim, and I'm not suicidal, and people hate me. It's like all these athletes that trashed America, and they're getting blowback, and all of a sudden, people hate us, and we don't understand why people don't like me, and people don't like the fact that I'm over here with the USA on my jersey, but I'm telling people over here overseas that America sucks. If you don't want to play for America, if you think our country sucks, take your jersey off and go play for Russia. You're playing for the greatest country in the world. We may have our problems, but we're the greatest country in the world. One more video, because I want to show you something. Watch this clip closely. Roll tape.
I'd rather die than bend the knee to these people. I'd rather die.
And like I said, I would rather die. I would rather die than worship Israel.
The reason I said that and played that, they're parroting each other. All of these anti-Semitic tropes, all of these anti-Semitic demons and bigots and liars and manipulators and Jew haters and spiritually illiterate dogs are parroting each other like a bunch of rabid dogs. They say the same thing. They get their talking points from their father, the devil, and it flows through every one of them. And that, my friends, is my Friday night. Play that again one more time.
I'd rather die than bend the knee to these people. I'd rather die.
And like I said, I would rather die. I would rather die than worship Israel.
Nobody's worshipped Israel, by the way. I want to say that to Miss Prejean tonight, Miss Beauty Contest Queen. I got another video where she was very hateful to Larry King. I was no fan of Larry King, but I'll leave that alone for Monday night. I got to have something to do Monday night. But let me tell you something, Miss Prejean, nobody's worshiping Israel. True Christians don't worship Israel. True Christians worship the Lord. We worship Jesus. But I'm going to tell you something. Those of us that know the Lord realize that our Savior's Jewish. And we also realize that what's happening right now is a line in the sand. And sheep are being separated from goats. Literally right now. In lieu of what's coming. Israel's got some dark days ahead of her, folks. You should be with us on our Sunday night teaching. You should be with us on our morning Bible studies. We've been talking and talking and talking and talking about this on Wednesday night, talking about this on Sunday night, talking about this on Sunday morning. We have been preaching as hard as a human being can preach and teach on this. We've been doing conferences all year, screaming and preaching and teaching on this. We're very aware of what Israel's future is. We know exactly what's ahead of her. But I also know this, that at the end, when the smoke clears, this tiny nation right here, this one, is going to be standing when the smoke clears. There's no guarantee this one is. And I always say this, gets me in so much trouble. People, boy, I've had people say some ugly things about this flag right here for some reason. I guess if I put a picture of Bill, Hillary, and Epstein and Gates with goats on it, they wouldn't care. Put a flag of Israel and America together, and my God, it's the Antichrist. Let me tell you something, folks. You can believe this or not. These opinions are mine. That's why I do the show. It's called the McFiles. It's not the U-Files. It ain't the Kerry Files. It ain't the Megan files. It ain't the Tucker files. This is the McFiles. We support Israel here. I'm going to tell you this. This one's future is settled in the heavens. Our future is determined by how we're going to treat this one. Now, again, you don't have to believe that. Many don't. But that's where we stand. And you can say we're doubling down till you've got no breath. We're going to double, triple, quadruple, and a million times down on it. I don't care. We're not going to change our opinion about that because, folks, I know what the Bible says about it. And the Bible don't need to be added to and don't need to be taken away from. Israel is going to be saved. There's no verse in the Bible that has anything to say about America. Not one. I've heard some people claim that we're not directly talked about, but we're indirectly talked about. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Any nation that is mentioned in the Bible, as it is mentioned, is always mentioned in relation to one thing. You know what that one thing is? It's treatment of this nation right here. Of this nation right here. You morning Bible students, you know what I'm talking about. I had that Daniel statue up for months. We're going to bring it back in soon because we're not really teaching about that right now, but we will again. Those empires that started with Egypt, and then the Assyrian Empire, then the Babylonian Empire, then the Persian Empire that we celebrate and commemorate Purim over, and then the Grecian Empire persecuted Israel. The Romans persecuted Israel. There's 6 of those past. One is coming, a revised Roman Empire, and then the revised Grecian Empire from which the Antichrist will come. Those are 2 future empires that will still persecute her. It's the only nations mentioned in the Bible, neighbor. If you don't believe that, you ain't got to. Take that as you will. I'll leave it at that tonight. All right, we got 15 minutes. I got 15 minutes. Elaine Wheeler says, are you going to hold them down and force Jews to get a DNA test, Tucker? How very Nazi of you. That's about the truth, Elaine. It's about the truth. That's what the truth is. My opinion is very biblical, Lori. I'll agree. It is very biblical. It's very biblical. And Jay, I love what you said. I think the DNA tests need to start in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Let's see if the Arabs have a right to that land. It would be well worth a start. And folks, listen to me. This is only increasing in nature and intensity. And these social media platforms, you know, as I shared with you Wednesday night, I was at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention Tuesday and Wednesday. I wished I'd have went Thursday and Friday because most of the bigger ministries that we would have loved to have connected to were there toward the end of the week. But that's okay. We met some great people at the first of the week. And I feel like we met the people the Lord wanted us to meet this week. I always look at these things as Romans 8:28. But there was the one thing I noticed this year that has not been there in the 2 years ago and the 2 years before that, because I can't really go to Texas when they do it. It's too far. So we go every other year here in Nashville. There were a ton of ministries that were geared to helping Israel and geared to evangelizing the nation of Israel and supporting Israel. And we've connected with some folks, and I'm praying that we can get some of these people on our show. All righty. Any more questions? Dennis, there's a lot of people that feel the way you do. There's a lot of people that feel the way you do about Tucker. I don't know what happened to him. There's some people that believe it was the Qatari influence, the money. I don't know. I can't answer why he turned like this. I can't tell you why Candace Owens turned like she did. The Hodge twins, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, all of them. Alex Jones, all these crazy nuts. Just a bunch of craziness. Millions of followers. Bannon, all of them. Millions of people listening to him. And I hate to say it, folks, these people don't even bother me. What bothers me are the Christians that listen to this stuff and believe it. Tucker acts like some popcorn theologian, like he knows the Bible. And again, I heard Miss Beauty Contest winner, and I've read some of the comments, and they're sort of being hypocritical about it. They're saying, well, she was a darling to the right when she was standing up for family values in that beauty contest. And I somewhat disagree with that. I mean, look, I hated what the pageant did to her, but she was as arrogant as could be back then. It wasn't like she was some nice pageant winner and nice lady. She was arrogant as could be about the whole thing. And to be frank with you, all that you're seeing now is her belief system, and these things, whether she's changed or whatever, that commission got her fired. She never brought up October the 7th, to my knowledge. And the arguments are the same, that Israel's the cause of the genocide in Gaza. They're not, folks. They're not. They're not. Everything Israel did in the Gaza was justified. It was self-defense. There is no nation on this planet that would have done any differently than Israel would have done had somebody attacked them the way Hamas did on October the 7th of 2023. Do you realize the people that died in Israel? Most of you understand this. 1,200, I think, roughly 1,500 died. That would have been like 33, 34, 35,000 Americans dying here. Based upon that number compared to their population, you take that formula and you take that number and percentage and apply it to 350, 360 million people or so here in America, that would have been equivalent to 33,000 Americans dying in a few hours. What do you think we would have done? What do you think we would have done? Under Joe Biden, I'm not sure. Under Trump, and somebody that's got some character and protecting the country, there would have been no Mexico. There'd have been no Mexico. There'd have been a hole in Mexico the size of Mexico, because that would have been sort of an equivalent of an attack coming across our southern border. Look, this ancient hatred has blinded the hearts of the Muslim world, and I have nothing but sympathy for that. I pray for that. It's not like we hate Muslims here. It's not about hating Muslims no more than it's about hating Jews. But that ancient hatred has so blinded the hearts of the Arab world. And I told Leslie this the other night. The only difference between a moderate Muslim and a jihadi Muslim is simply this. Don't take credit for this. This is what Bill Federer defined it as. The moderate Muslim believes that Islam will take the world over at a later date. The jihadi Muslim, the Iranian-type Muslim, the Somalian-type Muslim, the Dearborn, Michigan-type Muslim, and those folks that are over here infiltrating and destroying our country, they believe they're going to take it over now. You got a lady in Somalia or in Michigan tonight that went on, I didn't even play that one, I should have. She thinks that we should give reparations to the Somalis for what ICE has been doing in deporting them. They believe that America owes them money. But that's what you're dealing with. We pray for them. We pray for them. We pray for them. Anyway, any other statements? We gotta call it a night if you ain't got nothing else. Roger, you say, I believe our country is trending downward today. We have a balance of power. I believe something is going to happen, and we lose that balance. I think that, Roger, you've got a point there, and that's what's concerning, because I think that what happened today, look, this is how the left, they handcuffed Trump the first time with Congress, with the impeachments and Rhino Republicans and a lot of these lawsuits. They tied his hands. The courts have done the same exact thing this first year These rogue judges have tried to run this country from the bench. It's not how this country was operated. Trump has got executive power. Most of these cases have went his way when this balance of power issue. Great questions, great statement. We've got 3 branches of government. Part of the problem is Congress is not doing its part. A lot of this tariff issue wouldn't even have to be on Trump's desk if they would just break that filibuster, pass these laws, pass these tariffs, put these executive orders into law. Because all's going to happen, folks, if you get a Democrat president in 28, and God help us all if we do, they're going to just reverse all that Trump's done. Just like he reversed everything that Biden did. And I don't know where we're going to be after that. Very concerning. Roger, your point is well taken. And we are losing that balance of power. We are. Because the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch are not above one or the other. They're equal. They're 3 equal branches of power. But it seems right now the judiciary is running our country. And that's never been in the intent of the founding fathers. It never was, never will be. Never was. And really the only check and balance on the judiciary is 2 things. Congress can impeach these judges, but they're not going to do it. If we had a filibuster going, we could do it because you just need a simple majority. I think that's true. I'll have to check with my constitutional buddy about that. I think that you still would have to get 2/3, but regardless of that, the filibuster being gone would make it a lot easier to bring these things to the floor of the Senate. This thing that Mitch McConnell pulled about the voter ID would not be happening tonight if John Thune would end the filibuster. The executive branch controls that court too because they get to appoint who's on that bench. And I think there's a lot of choices that Trump's made that he's regretting. Amy Coney Barrett is one. Amy Coney Barrett served well for the fight against abortion, which in my mind is one of the biggest wins that we've had on the judicial system in this country's history to take Roe v. Wade down. But it didn't end abortion. It just sent it back to the states. But at least we got it off the federal payroll. People, you can't get an abortion with federal dollars anymore. And that's a win. I think your point is extremely well said, and we need to explore that one night on the show. Good stuff. Good stuff. But anyway, final statements, anything? Let's see here. No, John, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. Not kidding about anything tonight. Good to see you, friend. All right, folks, listen, it is right at 11 o'clock, and we're going to do something really cool in about an hour. Now, you're going to have to come over to the Spirit Word Fire Network if you want to come. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a faith show at midnight. It's going to be just a time of prayer and intercession. We're going to pray for our country. And we're going to play worship music throughout the night. And I guarantee it's going to go by so fast you won't even know it's midnight. And I hope we get a bunch of you over there that's wanting to stay up with us and watch into the night. Pray for our country. We're going to do it again. I'm going to see how this goes tonight. But I feel like that we're going to do at least these once a quarter, maybe once a month. Wish we could do them every week. But I definitely want to do it once a month, and we're going to start this one out this month and watch over the nation tonight and pray for the nation and seek the Lord for a country that's gone astray, a world that's gone astray, a church that's gone astray. And I could get more into that tonight. I had a few of the faith videos, and I'll get to those next week. But listen, I love you tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, put some fire in that house. Please pray for your president. Pray for this great nation of America. We pray for each other. And if you enjoy the show, put some fire. Say amen, somebody. And we're grateful that you've been with us tonight. And I will see you back here at midnight on the Face Side, on the Spirit Word Fire Network. And I want to say this also about our network. We had a Podbean account for several years. And at one time, we were putting the audio versions of the show on, and it just with everything going on the last several years, we let that sort of languish on the vine. And I'm almost ashamed to say it because it was really an avenue that we were missing in getting the network out. And our shows now are going to be on audio. You can go to Podbean. We got the link in our Telegram room. Be sure to join us there. And when it comes to the faith shows on Sunday morning, our faith services last 2 hours, 2.5 hours on Sunday. Well, what we're doing on the faith side, on those shows, are we're just putting the preaching and the teaching on the Podbean. So if you want to just hear the audio condensed version of the message, that's the place to go. And share that out with your folks and help us. We're going to be coming on Spotify. Excited about that. Apple Radio is going to pick it up, as is iHeart. Every time we upload a video, those videos go to Spotify, Apple, and iHeart now. And we're excited that the show is going to expand a little bit this year into those markets. And so if you're listening to us, I'm saying this for the heads up for the audio audience. We welcome you to the McFiles and the Spirit Warfare Network, whichever one you're listening to us on. We're excited about that. If you're on our Facebook page, we've got the link up there. Be sure to subscribe to us. Download these videos because it helps the ministry. It helps the show get out there and the word. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Have a good night, everybody. Great weekend. If we don't see you with the watch of the Lord tonight, then we'll see you Sunday morning. Sunday morning meeting time. Tomorrow night, gospel music. If you'd like to come listen to some good old-fashioned Southern gospel music, it'll bless your soul. We'll be back here Monday with Ricky Wilson at 7, and then another show later Monday night, and we'll rant and rave again. We'll rant and rave again. God bless you out there. Take care of yourselves out there, and I'll see you back here over the weekend. God bless you.